Hello, and welcome to Scuttlebutt, the War Movie Review Podcast. We're happy to have you with us as we take a look at films from the dawn of cinema to today. We aim to provide a raw and unapologetic review of each film's cinematography, historical accuracy, and delivery. In the process of analysis, certain details will be revealed. These spoilers are only divulged to ensure a fair assessment of each film.
We head back to the Cold War this week with Fedor Bondarchuks' 2005 Soviet-Afghan War thriller, Ninth Company. Nate and Brian's convoy were jumped by the Mooj on the way in tonight, unfortunately or fortunately, depending on how you look at it. And right now, it's the two mics. It's
Yep.
Eminem.
Just Eminem tonight. That's right.
Yep. So, what'd you think?
Well, I hadn't seen this movie. Had you seen it before?
Yep, I have once.
Okay,
Yep.
all right. Hadn't seen it before. My God, dude, I am so sick of seeing this type of movie. That's just from the minute it started. I'm just like, this is like standard war movie template. Like you have it's when I don't know, halfway through, I'm like, this is gonna be Full Metal Jacket, the Soviet-Afghan version, and so yeah, that's just kind of my thoughts on it. I don't care if it's based on a true story or whatever, but it has all of those points that you got to hit. It's like, okay, it's the reluctant hero's journey from the moment he got into the military through his basic training, which of course he's led by some kind of hard ass psycho. Then when he gets there and he meets the veterans who are, he goes into their unit and then they teach him what's what, and then he starts to finally see what's what, and then he becomes a veteran. The only difference with this one is that I couldn't really pinpoint who the main character was. Right? Yeah. And
Yep.
that at first I thought it was going to be that artist guy. And I was confusing him with the guy they call Sparrow. I kept confusing those two together. I'm like, who the guy I could really tell who it was the kind of funny looking guy who was the sole survivor at the end. That was the only guy I could really like. You're like, which one are you talking about?
Right.
Yeah. The guy who he's the guy who when he gets his head shaved he holds the guy down and shaves his head at the very beginning.
The badass, yeah.
Right,
Yep.
yeah. The one he's the only one who survives, and he was he kind of I guess becomes the main character, even though throughout the whole movie he just seems like a side character. And the artist guy or Sparrow, again, they were kind of interchanging with them. I thought I thought those guys were the main characters, but there really isn't a main character, and it was just like, all right, this is just your standard kind of war film. The only interesting or unique thing about it is that it's about the Soviet-Afghan war. And the only thing I can really say about that is that it's a much better Soviet-Afghan war film than The Beast. I'd rather watch this than The Beast, but I think that's what that movie was called.
Yeah, it's The Beast. Yep.
The Beast, yeah. And but other than that, I mean, generic as fuck. I was calling the beats as right before they were happening, So,
Yep.
meh. What about you?
Yeah, it's a lot of the same. Is like I watched it probably, I don't know, over a decade ago, right? And it was like, I thought it was cool because it was different. It was the Soviet-Afghan War.
Right.
I didn't know anything about that when I first watched it. Now I've learned a little bit from people who know a lot more about it than I do. And I'm like, oh, this is highly like cinematic and just highly like you said, very average.
Yeah.
It's like it's okay, here we have to do this, we have to do that, and all that stuff. The character development sucks, in my opinion. Like they're again, I couldn't tell them apart. It's not because their names are different. It's because like the one guy with the fucking the teeth, the one you were talking about, the badass guy, right? That shaved the guy's head. Okay. That's one guy that I could recognize, but then he faded into the rest of the guys, like as the film went on. And I'm like, okay. So, okay, it's the same fucking formula. You get these guys that are civilians, they go through basic training, they go to war, whatever. It is the same fucking formula as most of their war films.
Yep.
And you're correct on that. So that's basically my intro because it's
what else?
That's what it is.
Yeah,
yeah, like that's what it is. Yeah, yeah. So
I messaged you right after I finished it, which when I was finished, I'm like, okay, thank God. But when I finished it, I messaged you like, I feel like I just watched every fucking war film I've ever seen.
Exactly, exactly. And so it's like, okay, when they were going through basic, right? We'll just jump here and then we can jump around from here on out. But like, it's like when they were going through basic, one of the lines, I think I actually wrote this down. I did. There was like this stupid fucking music and almost directly ripped off lines from Full Metal Jacket. Like, you are all worthless here, whatever, but all that shit. It's like, because this film is from 2005, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And it's like, yeah, that Full Metal Jacket had been out forever. It's a fucking culturally, like, in the world, like, everybody knows that film.
Yep.
When you're ripping lines off directly from that, and that wasn't the only time, by the way. But as soon as I saw that or heard that, I was like, oh my God.
You just rolling your eyes. Yeah.
We're going this direction. You know, it's
right.
like, fuck. So, yeah, I mean, I get it. Basic training sucks for a lot of different militaries around the world. I get that. It's different. Yeah. Some are more harsh. Some are more like pussified, whatever, if you want to call it that. But like, Jesus Christ, have original lines.
I know. Well, original lines, original scenarios. I mean, I don't know. The only thing that I really found was kind of unique in this, and I don't know how true this is, but like these guys would just straight up punch their soldiers and stuff like that.
From what I've heard from like Eastern European, even post wall falling and everything, Eastern European and Russian guys and like a lot of Asian countries is they'll actually corporal punishment is a fucking standard. It's like almost expected,
right?
When you're going through basic, if you fuck up, you get hit, you get beaten, you get punched. It's not true in the United States military anymore as much as it was back in the Vietnam era. But even then, compared to other countries, it's not like bad. And so I didn't have a problem with that in this. I don't know if it was over exaggerated or like under.
Yeah, but it's certainly there. It's depicted in a way that's kind of like, they don't depict it in a way that is shocking. They just kind of depict it as that's what it is, you know?
Right, and that's why I'm leaning towards the believable kind of factor.
Yeah, probably
because
so. Because they made it seem like, oh, this is just how it is. This is, it's like second. They don't even think about it. But yeah, other than stuff like that, and again, I said, okay, the fact that it concentrates on this conflict, this time period and such, I guess that's unique, but in my opinion anyway, it doesn't really have anything interesting to say about it other than war sure sucks, doesn't it? It's like, yeah, a million other war films have says that.
And in my opinion too, like it kind of does a lot of the same shit as Full Metal Jacket. Right?
Oh yeah.
It's kind of like this, it's like the wannabe Soviet like era,
Yeah.
I know it's 2005, it's not Soviet, it's Russian, but like it's like the Soviet era Full Metal Jacket, or like getting these guys through basic, boot camp, whatever the fuck you want to call it. And then they go to war and it's weird. It's not what they expected. And then, oh, shit just gets completely fucked up at the end. And it's like, okay, like you said, it's like every other war film imaginable.
Yeah. I mean, you can just name, it's Full Metal Jacket. It has the same formula as We Were Soldiers. It has a lot of stuff. Platoon in there,
Yes. It's like I think whoever made this, or like the team that made this, they probably just watched a bunch of these American war films and were like, we're going to do that with the Soviet-Afghan war.
That's what it seems like, yeah. Because it's if this was made in America, at least people like us, if this was like about an American film, I think a lot of people would say, this is just every other war film I've seen. But maybe in, Eastern Europe, that sort of formula is not as prevalent. I don't know. I'm not
I don't know either.
An expert on Soviet or Eastern European cinema.
Right.
But that's just what I was picking up on. And I was calling it too, all these different things. Like there's the part where they're going through a village or something, and this guy, it's a big buildup, and then he comes out and he sees a child there, and oh, and he just walks away, and I'm just like, he's gonna get shot, and then immediately, bam, he gets
right,
shot.
100%. Yeah. And it's like further down the line, but like, yeah, it's definitely 100%. That's
There's
kind of
so much
shit
of
that's
that.
like, but it's not done like completely shittily. But it's like it's not original. The idea is not original.
That's it. Yeah, because with all these things we're talking about, like, yes, they are things that could and did happen in real life situations, but it's all been done before and done the exact same way. So it's like I'm not really
On film. Yep.
Yeah, on film.
It's like, yeah.
You got to figure out a way to do it differently. I mean, they even have you got to have the fucking the female who the character goes off and sleeps with and shit like that.
Well, this one it was a gangbang, so it was a little bit spicing things up.
That is true. Yeah, this one was a little bit more on the fivesome aspect ratio.
Well, yeah, 5, 6, 7,
whoever it was.
Because here's the thing: is the scene ends and like two or three of the guys. No. One of the guys finished for sure. But like, like after that happened, like the whole entire like squad went through her. Like,
that's true. Yeah.
Besides the couple guys that abstained, and there was that whole thing of like the weird like worship her. I'm like, yeah, but you're still gonna fuck her.
Yeah, they're
like,
stoned out of their minds in that scene. I get.
They're baked, they're drunk, and so yeah, okay, that's a very good point. But like, yeah, it was so yeah, but this is different in that respect because it is a gangbang. And then, like, most films is like, oh, this one guy goes off and, like, there's this, like, love story.
Yeah, yeah.
Which I kind of, that was different. I will give it that. That was different.
It's a bit different.
Because it's not your typical shit.
What would have been kind of interesting is if, I don't know, like, they have this thing where they have this bond with her. It seems like she's all of their girlfriend. It seemed, and
well, no, but that's kind of okay. I think they actually did that because
I'm saying
they said that every dude in Afghanistan has fucked this chick, right?
Yeah,
and they were just the next batch of dudes that were fucking this chick.
That's true,
and that's what I mean. Like, so it is like, yeah, that's everyone's girlfriend, who's a Russian soldier who goes to Afghanistan because the one guy's got her tattooed on him when they get there. Remember that?
Yep. Yeah, I do.
And so, yeah, it's like, Snow White. That's her nickname.
Right.
And
as a filmmaker, I'm trying to think of different scenarios to do it differently. But like, it is a tad bit unique. You're right. Yeah, to where it's like
I think it does work. I think it does work. Even though, like, to me, I think a lot of nudity, especially, well, not necessarily actually in this one. So I know this is like a scene about gangbanging and like fucking and whatever, but like it actually is a cool thing, a unique thing I found about this film is I don't think it's overly gratuitous with the nudity and like the whole situation.
It's just that one
because
scene
I do think what?
It's just that one scene from what I remember.
Right. And so with that scene too, it's like not like overly weird. Or I say that now, but like if I were to live 50 years ago, I'd probably think it's, but like as far as being like from realism, I don't think it's that weird. And also it's not like they're showing everybody taking their turn.
Right.
They show the idea, like you get the idea, and they do that weird, like, worship her thing. Mm-hmm. But they're all fucked up, like really fucked up.
Yeah.
Because they're going to Afghanistan tomorrow.
Yeah.
They know that. And yeah, I think what you said is like kind of true is like that's everybody in Afghanistan's girlfriend.
Yeah. So
like yeah.
Well, if she wants to do that, but oh my god, dude, like to do that with that many people.
Oh man, but like she also had problems from whatever like whatever, like they're all not in a good situation.
That's right. Yeah.
Just put it that way. But no, this part, like the nudity, like usually from like European and like Russian films and shit, I expect like hardcore, like really over the top nudity and like fucking and all that stuff.
Really on display.
But but this one didn't do that. And I think it was done more tastefully than most films would have done that situation. So, I mean, okay. Could the film have been done without that scene? Yes. Right. But I think it actually, because while it's going on, like they're actually talking and like the one guy admits, he's like, it's scary. And like then you get into the talking while that whole thing's going on, like she's getting banged or whatever, and like or getting talked to, which is fine. But like so I do think it's relevant, and I do think the way they displayed that scene was decent.
Okay.
Because it was different.
Yeah, it is different. I don't have any objection to that, but other than just like, oh, of course we have to have, someone to go fuck. But I understand that like that does happen, and it is done uniquely enough. I'll tell you something though that the movie really there's some things in the movie that are like set up but never paid off, like strangely. There's this part where the drill instructor guy, he takes our artistic character aside, and he's like, can you do a picture of me without my wound on my face? And he's like, yeah, and he's like, yeah, absolutely, I can. And then that just never comes up again. There's never like a scene where he like presents him with the drawing or anything.
But that's how it is in real life, because like, okay, that's a good scene to dissect as well. So again, we're shitting on the overall like whatever.
Right.
There were good scenes, and I think that's a good one as well to bring up and talk about.
Okay.
So because it didn't have like a closing, basically, like
it's set up and it's not paid off.
That shit happens all the time in real life, and at that point, that was showing that dude, the lieutenant, was still human, and he was at that point because he had the cock that was made out of the explosives, right?
Right. Yep.
And he should have just like ravaged this guy and punched him and beat him again, right? But he was just like, in that moment, that guy is still human, and he just had one of those moments where he's like, "Fuck, I'm never gonna see this girl again, but I want to do something nice for her." And he's just kind of like, okay, throw the cock behind him. Hey, can you do this? Yes. And he doesn't give a shit if it happens. But in that moment, I think he does. Like his character does. Like, as long as I know that somebody will do something so I can, say I did something for her.
Yeah.
And like feel good about, like just feeling a little bit better about your situation, I guess, because then we get the scene, a couple scenes after that, where he's going fucking nuts because he can't go back to Afghanistan.
Okay. I hear what you're saying, and that is true in terms of like, stuff like that. People ask for things or, want things and they don't happen. I just wished it would have been established a bit more rather than to me anyway. It seemed like the filmmaker just forgot about it. There's not like a scene when, later, right before they leave or something, he's like, "Oh, I was sorry I wasn't able to get that done for you," or something like that. I just something to acknowledge it, because I was like, was there a deleted scene where we see the outcome of this? It was just a weird thing to put in
I know
there.
what you're getting at. So a lot of times I'll bitch about the same thing.
Right.
I think in this particular case, I think it was okay.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I know exactly what you're saying, where there's no like, it's just like, what the fuck you do? What the fuck is the point of that? It seems like
it's forgotten, yeah.
But I think it is actually relevant.
Okay.
Just to show this, the lieutenant's like humanity, because you don't see it at all the rest of the film. Well, you in a sense you see it when he's flipping out and beating these guys when he can't go to Afghanistan. But like that is like the only the only time he's really showing his humanistic side,
right,
is in that scene, and so I think it works in that respect.
I think
like,
it's
that
fine.
Makes sense?
Yeah, no, I think it does work too. I just wish it would have, come up again at some point rather than just being
right now. I do actually like the fact that it didn't,
okay,
because a lot of times that just fucking, he has a conversation. A, he won't remember because he's fucking hammered. B, it just doesn't come to fruition because these guys are going to Afghanistan in 2 days, and whenever it just gets forgotten about by them.
Right.
And like, so whatever, it's like, that's why I think that one works. So yeah.
Okay.
But I do understand what you're saying as well.
Right.
Like, and that's, yeah, it's very accurate.
I think of some other examples because, excuse me, there was some stuff that came up to where I'm just like, why is this even introduced? Yeah, it was funny when they finally get to Afghanistan. I was just thinking, like, are they going to walk into like a hooch and there's going to be a bunch of veterans there glaring at them? And that's exactly what happened.
Well, I think, I mean, obviously you got the characters,
Yeah.
for the film's sake. But I mean, that's usually how it goes. Like with any military anywhere in the world, is like the guys that have been there a while is like whatever. But they, I know what you're saying is like they immediately, those characters, you know exactly who they're, and it's like over exaggerated. It's like it's kind of a cartoon version of what you would think they're going to be walking into.
Yeah, exactly.
As new guys, and it's all right there, and it's fucking bam, bam, bam.
Yeah, like I say, I understand these things do happen in real life, but like, come on, movie, like, can you do it a little differently this time? You know, rather than the way movies have done it a million times before.
Right. That's how you know the formula. That,
yeah.
We were just talking about it. It's like bam, bam, bam. It's like realistically, I think, like from what I've experienced and what I've known my friends' experience, is you walk in as a replacement, whether it's a bunch of you or just you, and everybody looks at you and goes, okay, and they go back to what they're doing.
Yeah.
And then one person will approach you and just be like, all right, come here. All right, here's how you fucking do this, blah, blah, blah. Here's where you're sleeping. Here's your shit.
Yep.
Go fuck off.
Yep.
Got any questions, ask me. That's it. That's how I've known it in real life. Now, can that differ? Absolutely. But in these scenes, like that whole sequence, you're correct. I think you're correct. It's like it's a caricature. It's like really we know exactly what the fuck everyone's gonna say, how they're gonna look at them, and yeah, it's just fucking like change it up, make it interesting, make it unique.
That's right. Yeah, just have something interesting to say. I don't know who the filmmaker is or what they've done before, but like this must be something either based on a book or based on like his grandfather or something, or not his grandfather, but like his father, because it wasn't that long ago. I have no idea, but yeah, I'm like, what is this? What is the point of this other than, hey, being in the Afghan war really sucks. You know, it really sucked. Like that's
right, which is again a very universal idea that's conveyed through films from all eras, all wars, all countries.
Yeah,
like that make them, and it's like, how are you going to be the one who makes something a little bit different? And again, there are some cool scenes in this film that make it a little bit different, but the majority of it's just the same cookie cutter kind of fucking. This is whoever. And like, so is war that boring and cookie cutter? Perhaps, but I think it's the way like I felt like the conversation, or I thought the conversation in this one was a little bit too like robotic and like cookie cutter, kind of what you're saying with the scenes. Like the conversation, the dialogue was very cookie cutter. And at times it was good.
Yeah.
But it was like, the way the actors were being told to deliver these lines was very like, this is how army guys talk.
That's what it felt like. Yeah, it felt
right.
Well, and at the same time, I'm not sure if you'd classify this as an anti-war film or a pro-war film, because they do tackle all these hardships of what war is and how bad it is to be wrapped up in this sort of thing. But at the same time, they make most of the guys look like badasses, and the battle concludes with them on top of the hill, and like, we did it, being heroic. So it's like, what is...
Most of them are fucking dead though, but it's kind of like Hamburger Hill. Right. So there's another film we can throw into like the influences.
Yeah, very much so.
It's like Hamburger Hill, but for the Soviets in Afghanistan at the very fucking tail end.
Right.
So this is 89.
Yeah.
Apparently this situation took place in 89.
So it's
right before they're getting out, right? But they don't know that, obviously. And like, but yeah, it's like Hamburger Hill. At the end, they're all standing up there, like, well, in this situation, they're like, yeah, woo. Mm-hmm. And Hamburger Hill, they're just sitting there, but it's the same scenario.
Well, I thought of that one too, but it's I don't know. It just in my opinion, I'm like, are we supposed to like, are we like glorifying the military, or are we like condemning them? It's
right. And so I actually do like that aspect, because we're asked, or we're questioning it.
Okay.
And so it's not clear cut. And I do like that. I respect that, because I don't know either. That's the thing, is like, are they glorifying the Soviets, or are they saying war fucking sucks and it's shitty and it fucks over people that are involved? And so you don't know. You have to you have to base your own opinion on what you saw versus what the movie is trying to tell you.
What's your opinion on what you saw then?
I don't know.
Okay.
It's half of it. It's like 50-50. It's like half of it is like, oh, glory to Soviet, motherland, Rodina, right? I know Russians or whatever that know that. I'm sorry I fucked that up. The pronunciation.
They know what
I'm
you mean.
an English speaker, but and half of it I'm like, oh, war sucks, and it just fucking kills everybody that's in it, whether they're living through it physically or not. It kills everyone. Okay, so I don't know. That's why
that's kind of
that part I do respect. Yeah.
Okay, all right. That's kind of my point, though, is that I'm like, I don't know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
supposed to take from this. So it's that's why for me anyway, it's like it's not clear.
Yeah, that's not part that I think is different, and that's why it's not a totally shitty film. It's shitty in a lot of respects, and we'll get to that in a bit. Don't worry, but yeah, I don't know what the goal was, and I don't know what to think about it as far as like, is this pro-Soviet? Is this not? And so I like that. I do.
Okay. Interesting.
Or like pro-Soviet war and like, or
Right.
is war bad? Is war bad? So I guess I should have clarified, but yeah. So
I did think that there was some good directing in it. I liked some of the way some of the scenes were filmed, and I like the as we talked about. We usually talk about sets and stuff. The setting looked really good. At first the cinematography was really odd to me because it looked like a Hallmark movie.
Right
when it first started, yeah.
Right. It looks like kind of a wannabe art house kind of like, setting, and it's like, okay, well, what are we doing here? And then it gets a lot better.
Yeah. As it get closer to the war, like the cinematography, the look of everything gets better. But when it first started, like I felt like I was watching like a Hallmark family movie just by the look of it. Everything is like really perfectly brightly lit, and it was a little strange when it came to that. But there was some directing in it that I thought was pretty interesting. What was kind of interesting also was that I don't know if this is accurate or not, but the Soviet soldiers themselves some of them are just like going out without any shirts on, and so a lot of them don't even have headgear. They all kind of look like they're just grab whatever they want, and then they do that. Like it was very ununiform looking to me, like when they were out actually in the battle scenes.
Yeah, I don't know enough about this war to comment, but
me neither.
I would assume if it's like any other war with any other country, that when you're in the field and you're taking fire and giving fire, some of those uniform regulations like kind of just don't matter. And guys, because they're in coast, so this is like south of Bagram. It's like south and east of Bagram, so it's a pretty it's like a desert really, but it's like semi-arid. All right, we'll call it that.
Yeah,
and it's really warm, and I mean, guys are going to do what guys want to do to be comfortable as much as you can. So, but again, I don't know, so I'm not going to go any further than that. But like, I would assume that, depending on your unit and all that shit, like that could be a very real possibility.
That was just what I thought. I was like, man, these guys, they're just kind of like grabbing whatever, and some of them aren't even wearing helmets at all.
Those are hot as fuck too. Like
that's
to wear
true,
oh my god.
That is cool though that that helmet had been around that long. That helmet, that same one, that's the same styles you see. Like I know it's slightly different, but it's basic. It has that basic same shape to it.
Yeah. So what's cool in this film is they were actually very accurate. Is like they would have been wearing mostly at that time. Guys that are going to Afghanistan would have gotten the SSH-68, right? Which is the newer one that's got less of the droop on the side. It's more gradual. And whenever it also is bigger.
Right.
It's got the rivets on the top to hold the liner in. Now, they did have a lot of guys wearing the SSH-40, which is the World War II version that was used fucking still being used.
Yeah.
In some reserve units. And that was really cool too, because that's what they would have been issued, because they weren't able to give all the guys the new fandangled perfect helmet, you know? And they did have that a lot in this film. And they had guys with SSH was called an SSH 60 or 63, depending on the collector or whatever nerd you talk to. So it's a 40 shell with a 40 chin strap with the new liner to put a hat underneath it, a new Shanka, like the winter hat.
Yeah.
And so that's why you see a lot of them wearing the hats underneath, is because if you wear it without a hat, it's very loose unless you tighten up the drawstrings and everything. But it's like, it's easier to wear it with a hat. And I did appreciate that in this film, that they actually showed that.
Okay.
And they had two different model or three different models of helmets. The colors were all wrong on the helmets though. I'm like, what the fuck? Because the paint on them were like, it was like very much darker and more glossy than the original paint on all three models that I just described, like from the factory. And I don't know why they would paint them darker in a combat setting like that.
Right.
Like where it's lighter colored and all that shit. But yeah.
Interesting. A lot of them were wearing like these sun hats that
I don't know what the fucking Russian name, but yeah, the boonie hats basically. Yep.
Right. So that sort of stuff was kind of interesting, because I am always fascinated by like Russian history and Russian military history, but I don't know. I know dick about it. Like I don't know anything.
Dude, it's once you get into that rabbit hole, if you actually get sucked into it, like a bunch of the Rusabus and the people like that, it's like, it just never fucking ends. Like
it's a whole like netherworld, you know. So it's like a whole other world to explore.
Like, did you notice the camouflage uniform that their drill sergeant was wearing, or their drill instructor?
There's a number of different camouflage type things. What about the one he was wearing?
Right.
What about the one he was wearing?
Yeah, that came out in like 1981. It's
okay.
It's called TTSKO. Right. And the older shit, like that's just two color, like the sweaters they were wearing, that was phased out by like 1978, but you can still get it. And then they probably, I don't know at all what pattern those sweaters were, like whatever the pullovers they call them. But like that material and that pattern would have been there, and they could have custom ordered them and just gotten them. And that was, to my understanding, accurate to this war.
Okay.
Is like having all that shit in there, but most of the time they'd have been wearing the khaki, the Afghan uniform, you know?
One thing that I see it a lot in this, and I have seen in a ton of Soviet things going back to World War II, are those tank tops, those striped tank tops.
And I don't know a lot about them, but I do know that they still issue those. They still wear those.
Really? Huh.
Yep. And some of them are different colors and all that stuff, but like I don't know what the colors designate. I'm not going to claim to know that. But yeah, they still issue those.
Interesting, because that's just something.
It's a very Russian thing.
Yeah, I've seen those for forever. Like when it comes to Soviet military stuff, like I always see those. Very interesting. But so that stuff was, all that stuff was kind of cool to see. But
and the 74s and shit, like
the AK-74s, Bakelite magazines and stuff like that.
And then also the plum ones and the fucking standard what the hell they made. But yeah, like the polymer ones. And also the Afghans using that shit. It's like, yeah, the Muj, whenever they could acquire something, they did. And that's very smart. So.
Yeah, but so I mean, a lot of good production value. It's just the script, in my opinion, is just kind of lacking in terms of what it's, what it wants to say. It's just again, there used to be this game on PC. I think it was called At the Movies or something. It was a PC game where you could create little movies, like little short films on your computer, and with characters and such. And this to me seems like you grab the war movie template, and then you plug in a number of things to go into it, because it just follows so many tropes and beats from other war films that I'm like bored while I'm watching it.
So although this was based on an actual event that happened in 89, you can literally plug it in to any other fucking war movie like this. And it's like, if you're gonna cover something like this, go into more detail and don't spend so much goddamn time on the fucking training and shit.
Yeah, I mean that's half of the movie is that.
It's like Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah, same kind of thing.
It's half the fucking movie is the training part, and it's like, okay, that's fine, but people have seen that.
Yeah, we've seen it
and
before.
It's like,
I don't get anything new from this other than, hey, it's the Soviets.
Right, and it would have been awesome. Like, I would like to learn more through a film and like get intrigued to like do more research on an event that happened. But this is so, like you said, the script is so lame. The production value is there.
Yeah,
but there was a disconnect.
They clearly got great shit to put in the movie, you know. And
yeah,
and
they got BMPs.
Yeah,
they got fucking T-72s. Awesome shit.
Yeah,
right. But there was a disconnect in the production value versus like, okay, here's the script says, all right, let's do this. And the story just, it fell short. It didn't like, it wasn't like a complete fucking flop, but it also wasn't great, and it could have been great. That's the thing, you know?
Yeah.
You're telling the story and like, because like, you know, the whole battle that they were trying to like convey lasted like 20 minutes.
Yeah, I always find it humorous when I see a movie that is, you know, it hangs its hat on a battle, usually one that was real, but there is like 45 minutes to an hour of buildup before that. And it's like, what is the movie about? Is it about that battle, or is it about the people who just happen to be at that battle?
There you go.
Yeah, like Hacksaw Ridge is the same thing. Like, why is the movie even called Hacksaw Ridge? It's like, it's only one little part of the movie takes place there, you know?
Right, and it's like, and the battle, because of the buildup, is so shittily done and rushed.
Yeah.
That it's like, well, pick one.
Yeah, but go with a story, like, rather than this. To me, it was like someone wanted to do a movie about that specific battle that's at the end. Well, we got to write a war film around that. Well, let's, you know, take things from other movies and do that, rather than finding an interesting story within the actual story of the battle that they could do. You know, that's what I see.
Yeah, narrowing it down. And like, you know, figuring out how can we do this. And I mean, don't get me wrong. So I didn't mind a lot of like the training and build up, even though a little bit, it was kind of redundant at times, but okay, you got this guy that's actually been there, done that, who's training the guys. They're learning lessons and all that shit. But that shit, for the content they delivered in this, for that, could have been way condensed down to like fucking less than 30 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
From start to finish. And then, okay, focus on like, okay, they're jumping on the planes, they're going to Afghanistan. Okay. And like when they're at the airfield and those guys are leaving, and they're like, he gives them the medallion and shit like that. And then they get shot down, basically, and they get fucked up.
Yep.
Yeah, that shit does happen, which is almost happened to me, which is fucking insane.
Yeah.
Glad it didn't. But like that would have been cool to like, but they were all okay in that scenario. They were just like,
just sitting there staring
like,
in awe.
Their cock holsters are just, good. And like, no, in real life, they'd have been like, oh, fuck. Get the fuck out of the way.
Let's you know? Yeah. But, and then also to just the cherry on top of the whole thing is that the plane, of course, runs into a bunch of fuel drums, you know, so it will blitz.
You're just sitting on the tarmac.
Yeah. Like, really like, movie.
No. Like, I mean, the Soviets were fucking dumb, but they weren't that retarded. Like,
yeah.
They didn't value life as much, but they valued resources. So it's like,
well, that's
fucking Christ.
That's something straight out of like a John Woo film where, you know, something.
Oh yeah, and
just there for an explosion.
Going through 2 fucking barricades of fucking fuel. Oh my god. Yeah. So that was like, okay, this is getting way bad. And then, yeah, it's like, and here's the thing too, is like some of the sound effects were actually really good. Like a lot of the sound effects of the AK-74 sounded like they just recorded on very high quality recording devices at that point, an actual 74 being shot, because it's this high-pitched, very high-pitched crack.
Yeah.
That's what a 74 sounds like. It's a very high-pitched pop/crack.
Yeah. And
it's not as much of a crack as a 39.
I've heard that sound before. Not in person, but like in film footage and such and recordings of it. However, the bullet ricochet sounds were stock. I noticed that. Like I'd heard,
and they were all over the place.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Just
I'm like,
I'm like,
that's not what this would sound like if it was. Yeah. They were all very. That's the thing, is like some of the sound effects were great,
really good, but towards the end, especially, I could really pick them out. Yeah.
It got rough.
Like I remember that I don't forget what that type of gun is called, but the guy who picks up the machine gun and he's shooting it.
The PCAM.
Yeah, like the sound.
That's an M60 sound effect.
Yeah. The sound effect used for that is like they use that in Forrest Gump for the M60.
Yep. They use it in video games. They use it in everything. It's like, God, you guys were doing so well, but like, I mean that. I don't know. Like it's. There's more bad than good in this film.
Unfortunately,
It as far as sound effects. Now, visual effects. So they did, from what I saw, and you can disagree with me. Let's discuss this.
Okay.
I saw a lot of practical effects. Not saying they're all good, but I saw a lot of practical effects.
No, I did.
What did you see?
I did too, and I was very impressed with a lot of the helicopters were all real. Those were not CGI. I didn't see any CG explosions from what I can remember. They all looked practical to me as well.
Yeah.
So that was really
they were very gasoline ridden.
Yes, but they were actually on set.
Right. They were actually practical instead of CG.
Yeah.
There was some CG. I think it was right after they got into Afghanistan. There was some CG for like 2 or 3 scenes where it was horrifically shitty.
I don't remember that. What happened?
Oh no! It was Oh, okay, hold on. I actually.
Are you thinking of something else?
No, I'm. No, it's in this film, but like, because I was gonna say some of it was for when the plane came back in, landed, and hit the gas tanks, but no, it was. Okay, doesn't matter. We'll move on. If it comes back to me, I'll let you know. I don't want to like say shit that doesn't. It's not accurate.
Yeah, no, it's all good.
There was like 2 or 3 scenes of CG effects that I saw in here.
Okay.
Like blatant CG.
Okay.
And if there was more, I couldn't see it or I didn't want to notice it.
I didn't spot it.
But yeah. So I mean, practical effects are always better.
Of course.
We've talked about this
Absolutely.
a lot. So
one thing, I don't know if this was true or if I was, my brain was interpreting it differently, but when the guys would fire the Mujahideen would fire the RPG, it almost looked like there wasn't a warhead inside it, like there wasn't a rocket.
No, they were trying to. I don't know what the fuck that is. Let me pull up IMFDB.
Yeah,
because it wasn't an RPG.
Okay, because I'm like,
I think they were trying to make it look like a Law or a Stinger.
Okay.
And I let's see, Ninth Company.
It's fucking
not Company.
One thing I've learned from this movie and from The Beast is that the Soviets really love to booby trap everything with their grenades.
Well, where do you think the Muj and all those guys learned that? Like they did that in World War. Like the Soviets did that in World War II.
Really?
As well. Yeah, and it's fucking. Well, it's not just them. Like everybody does it.
Yeah.
The Americans usually don't do that to their dead, but other countries do.
Yeah, like this guy. Like there was a dead guy in this, and he just does it.
He threw a fucking grenade on him. Yep.
Yeah, like damn, that's wicked.
Oh yeah, he threw it under the Muj guy.
Yep. Who gets shot in the back?
Yeah. So, but even Americans, like I mean, it probably happens and does. Has happened in the past a lot, but like. I'm not saying it's inaccurate at all because whatever. I'm just trying to think of the American.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So the RPG 18. I've never heard of this fucking thing.
That thing. That's the thing that looks like the Law, right?
Yep. So I will share my screen to you. I'm sorry, guys. Nate's not here. We don't know how to work OBS. Can't get it to work right now. It was whatever. They got hit. Their convoy got hit. we don't have any fucking choice. So
we gotta work with what we got.
All right. So yeah, the RPG 18.
There it is.
I've literally never seen this or heard of this before. But yeah, it's literally a copy of the law.
Okay. Is the RPG list of course it is, but is it above? Yeah, right there.
Yeah, dude, I'm almost down to the bottom.
Okay.
So, but yeah, trust me, I scrolled through this and I was like, that's why I was sitting there going, what the fuck? Where is it? So okay. Yeah, the RPG or the whatever the fuck it's called.
Yeah.
The 7, but like there's whatever. The helmets are the wrong color. Probably the wrong color.
Should they be more of like a sand color or something?
No, they're more of like a light green.
Kind of like an olive, maybe?
No, it's I mean, I'll grab my SH40 really quick, please.
All right.
It's more like this color.
Oh, okay.
Versus that kind of darker, and it's not glossy. You see that? It's like a matte finish.
Yeah, definitely matte.
So, yeah, it's the 68s are painted pretty much the same color. They might have been a little bit more glossy, but not as glossy as they are in the films. So, all right, we'll go back to the. We have this up when we get there.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to the top.
Overall, like, I'm trying to think of other scenes that were okay. Like, it was just, you meet the rough commander, you meet these guys, and also the medic didn't fucking perform medical attention on anybody that I saw.
the
Siberian guy.
Yeah, he. No, I don't. Yeah, because I remember they were referring to him as medic. No, there wasn't one time where he was
not one fucking time. It's like, you're a great fucking medic. Yeah, great. I get hit, you don't give a shit, you just keep firing.
There might have been like a deleted scene where he does something, but they had to get rid of it.
But still, like if you're gonna introduce him as like the medic, like fucking have him doing shit.
I agree.
Jesus Christ. But yeah, it's
that's why I say yes, you pay off shit when you set it up.
Yeah, and as far as like the overall like the directing, I don't think it was like directed poorly. It could have been better, but you can say about every film. But like, I think, and the acting's, a lot of the actors sucked.
Yeah, and that might be why there wasn't a strong character to grab hold of. That's
right.
Where I think I would dog the director there. It's like, okay,
right, because it's intertwined.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. It's like, okay, you need to have like a character to pull the story along, and there really isn't one. There's a multitude of characters, but they're all just kind of like, okay, that's the asshole, this one's the artist, this guy's the tough guy.
Well, and then every time you get like kind of used to a group of dudes, then it's like, okay, they're in a new setting that you have to introduce the new characters that you're supposed to care about.
Yeah.
And like they have their own personality and shit. It's like that. So that is the director's fault. Yes,
it is, yeah.
Now that I'm thinking about it.
It's
so
like,
yes,
that's where you really need to, as a storyteller, try and hone in on something. Or if you want to do just an overall like ensemble of a certain like event that happened, you do it differently. But so yeah, that's where I was just, the whole formulaic way it's done. That's obviously a criticism. But yeah, the characters are pretty much non-existent. It's hard to grab hold of any of them.
They're all very one-dimensional.
Yeah, absolutely.
In my opinion, like besides the guy that's a painter who I still don't even know his fucking name.
Yeah,
like,
I don't remember.
It was said, but like it's like, oh, you're the painter.
Yeah.
Okay, that's like a description of a character.
Yeah,
it's not even a character.
That's not the character.
And so, is that intentional? Like, are we not supposed to care about the characters at all? Because they all were just kind of like thrown to the meat grinder. That's like an abstract hipster way to look at it. But like
bold choice if they wanted to do that, I guess. But
correct.
Yeah.
And like, but I don't. The rest of the vibe of the film doesn't hit me as like a piece that's supposed to do that. And yeah,
no,
it's weird, but like
it's done as more as a personal story. But there really is no one to grab hold to for that.
Exactly.
It's not like how with Das Boat you have the war correspondent. That's the guy.
I was just gonna say, like, whose diary is this from?
Yeah, exactly.
Like Well, there is none.
There is none. This at the very end, the sole survivor, who was like the badass, he's the one who gives some little narration at the end, but there is none before that.
Yeah, but it's just like it's also talking about the macro level history of it.
Yep. It's like,
it's not even like
yeah,
they were wiped out. They were whatever. The war ended here, and then they just all went back, and some guys defected, and some guys still live there.
Yeah.
Okay, that's macro level shit.
I guess I'm supposed to give a shit. Yeah, that's what I give. Like, that's what I think of when I hear something like that. Like, okay,
right.
I guess I'm supposed to care, even though I really don't.
Like, what? Okay, but yeah, it just fucking like, so that overall, like, it wasn't directed shittily because there were great scenes. It was done, like, the producers and everybody on set did a good job of making a an easily digested movie, right? And if you don't know a fucking thing about this, it's probably better.
Yeah, that's what you could say about it. About the
but like
matter.
if you know about a little bit about filmmaking, which I don't think I know a lot, but I know a lot more than a lot of people who consume content.
Yes.
And it's like, oh, so I can spot shit. Okay, here's this, here's that. Okay. And I think if I didn't have that, which I didn't 10 years ago when I watched this or whatever, around 10 years ago.
Yep.
And I thought it was better than it is now. Kind of like we were talking about the other night of Stalingrad.
Yeah.
I thought it was a lot better back in the day than I do now.
Now that you have that hindsight, yeah.
Right. It's still a great film. I fucking recommend it to anyone. Oh, wait. I don't know when this is going to be released, but like we did Stalingrad 1993 at the end of 2023. And I love that movie. But it didn't get as high of a score as I thought. I thought I was going to give myself that.
Yeah, but then you saw it.
Right. That's what I mean. Like I thought I was going to give myself, Jesus Christ. I thought I was going to myself, give that a higher score than I did because I was basing that on what I had seen like 10, 12 years ago.
Yep.
And it lost a little bit because of what I know now.
Yeah, I do that a lot, actually. Like, I'll have seen something when I was younger and then watch it again. I'm like, oh, wow, now I have this perspective on it. Yeah.
Yep. So. And the history and a little bit of filmmaking, all that shit. And it's like, this film, I honestly think, like, as far as the like the actual shooting itself, like when they were on set and they did that, I thought that was stronger than the overall, like the writing, all that stuff. I thought that it was stronger than the whole fucking story in general.
I agree.
Like, does that make sense?
I think I know what you're saying. Is that well, elaborate a bit more. What you're saying?
So I think it looked a lot different on the script than it did.
Oh, I
and like
see
in
what
the
you're
plans
saying.
and everything before it actually went here. But when it was actually being shot, it was done. Everybody that was doing the shooting, everybody that was involved with that, did a fucking phenomenal job. I don't have really any problems except for like that 2 or 3 scenes of CGI. With the actual shooting and the cinematography, the direction on set, but I think it looked a lot different on paper to everyone than it actually turned out to be.
Right. Yeah, I've thought a lot about that when it comes, and I've actually even witnessed it a number of times where a movie that you've seen a lot, and then you track down the original script of it, and you're like, wow, this was changed a lot when they made it. That could be the case for this movie. I'm not too sure, but maybe the script was one thing originally, and because of the director, it changed throughout as they were making it. That happens,
Well, but even if it didn't change, I think in this case it might have looked and felt different than it actually turned out to be.
Yeah.
Whether it's the actors and like whatever, like doing a table read is one thing, but like actually going and interacting with the other people in real life, in costume on set is different. And I think that's a big reason this thing fell short, in my opinion, is like, I think it was like an idea and a fucking big image.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, this is fucking awesome. Everybody's on board. And then you get to shooting it and you're like, oh, the writing's not as strong, but we can't really. How do we fix it? No, we can't.
We have to work with what we got. Yeah.
Because it's so intertwined. And it's like, well, if we change one thing, we have to change 10. Okay, we can't do that. And so that's kind of like as the, what I've known about filmmaking in the past couple of years. That's what I'm saying is like, it's not a fucking horseshit movie, but I think it had a lot more potential. It could have, and I think it would have started back before the shooting even happened.
Yeah, probably.
I think in pre, I think they could have done some things, but again, I don't know. I don't understand, kind of Russian filmmaking either. So
yeah, and that's why I said earlier when we were talking about the tropes and such. I'm like, but who knows? Maybe in Eastern Europe, those tropes aren't as prevalent. I'm not sure. So.
Right, and who knows? But yeah, that's really the only comment, like macro level of the film.
Yeah,
that I think it just fell way short of what it could have been.
Yeah. Do we want to do the IMFDB,
yep.
then do our final
thoughts?
Let's
do IMFDB. And cool. Yes, you guys are going to have to just bear with us, and if you want to follow along by yourself.
I think Nate said he could insert like his own video of it or something. Like he would take it later. Yeah.
We'll see. If you're that lucky, you'll see the results in the fruits of the happening. Jim Leahy quote. Anyway, so we're going to start here on the top. The AK-74.
There's a wicked scope on that thing.
Yeah, the NSPU. That's a big motherfucker. And, they're not practical. Like, a 74 is a light rifle. Or a carbine, whatever the fuck you want to call it. But that thing makes it just fucking insane. So Ahmed.
Were there any 47s in this, or were they all 74s?
I didn't see a 47, and you would have usually. So
interesting.
But the AKS, with the folding stock, the bayonet, type 2, type 3 actually.
They kept calling them paratroopers in the movie too. Is that even though we never see them doing paratrooper training or anything like that?
Well, it's the equivalent of like, so you're training the 82nd Airborne to do whatever. They're like a rapid deployment force. They do jumps in training, and then they actually don't do jumps. They just get like shipped over there, and then
I get it.
Just
whatever.
So I think they were just like refilling. It's like replacements, basically.
Okay, yeah, because they kept calling them that, but I'm like, there's nothing about them that screams paratrooper. I didn't know if
right, and he's wearing a blue beret right there. So that's a pair. The paratroopers in Russia wear blue berets.
Okay.
Like the paratroopers here wear maroon ones.
Okay.
So, but like, yeah, I think they were just like replacements, and especially in 88 or 89, like it's. Yep, the SVD. Yep. So, like, Paul was talking about in his video about snipers versus designated marksmen, right?
Yeah.
This was a really good presentation of that.
Okay.
Of like, you get the guy that's a really good shot, and you give him a rifle that is good out to about 600 to 800 yards, like with more point accuracy than area. Than in like a regular like 74 or whatever. That's what most people who have optic weapons are going to be, is like DMRs.
Okay, not like a
designated rifleman.
Not like a sniper though, going to do sniper missions. Yeah.
Nope, they're not stalking. They're not doing that. So they gave him that, and because you see him right here.
Yeah.
He's in combat, and he's just like, okay, I can see that guy, and I'm just gonna fucking nail him. We still have those a lot in the U.S. military. Like, most of the guys that you see with optic weapons are what's called designated unit marksman. And unit could be company level on up. Sniper, you have to go to school for that, and that's like where it gets into like stalking and like knowing the terrain and like knowing, you basically shit yourself for however many days you have to be out there
sit
and
in
stuff.
The same spot, yeah.
Yeah, that's where the difference is, and the marksmanship training on a sniper is going to be a lot more in depth than a unit marksman.
Right.
But you're still going to give like a weapon like an SVD to a unit marksman.
Yeah. That was well done.
Because, yeah, I think that was well done. The PKM, one of the best machine guns ever made.
The barrel is bent on that guy's gun, and he's like trying to sight it in.
So I think the portrayal was very cinematic, because like even though they alluded to it, and they said the armorer probably like traded it for some shit to the Afghans, which he probably did. They'd still be able to get a fucking new barrel.
Yeah,
because the barrels like we were talking about earlier is like each machine gunner has got 3 to 4 barrels. If their supply line is that fucked, which it could have been in '89, maybe they didn't have barrels, but also that barrel is not going to last long at all.
That is dramatically bent. Yeah,
I was just going to say like dramatically bent like that. So I think that was more for like cinematic kind of like, all these guys are so fucked and they have nothing.
Yeah,
but I don't think that's
it's
totally
going to be
realistic.
that bad.
Yeah. All right, some more shots of the PKM. Yep. Oh, the PKT. Yeah. That's a very fucking heavy light machine gun, I would call it.
Where is it on the tank? I can't see it. Or is it?
Well, no, it's.
Oh, it's like in the tank.
It's like right here.
Oh, okay.
The fire and shit is like fucking stupid. It's retarded. But they would have had those. The RPK 74. Yep, definitely. It's like the modern equivalent of like the saw. Cool. The KPVT. What the fuck is this?
Something on one of those armored cars or something.
Oh yeah, it's on the BMPs.
I did like
or BDRMs rather.
Going back to practical effects when they're getting ambushed and you see one of the turrets of one of those things blow off.
Oh yeah. That was good.
That was well done. Yeah.
Yeah, because it wasn't like this huge.
Right.
It was like you saw the magazine get hit, and then it was like the turret just went with smoke.
Yeah, popped off.
Started tumbling and then popped off, and it was so that's what I mean. Like there was a lot of good shit that was done in this film. It's just the fucking the story just sucks. The NSV, so that's 12.7. So that's kind of like a fucking Dushka, but it's not.
Okay. It's a big son of a bitch.
But, yeah, it's an M2.
Okay. It's
the equivalent of the M2, right? Yep. A 12.7 by 107. So a US 50 fires a 12.7 by 99. And this fires a 12.7 by 107.
Okay.
They're bigger. They're shaped differently and all that shit. But it's essentially a 50 cal. So they've got that up there. That guy's humping it. Oh, that sucks. That really sucks. Yeah, because those things are fucking heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Vehicles. So the Garashev Shupanov GS-32.
Thing mounted on a helicopter.
Yeah, so 30 millimeter cannon is that's pumping out some major hurt. And they've got on the BMPs.
Yep.
They have those as well. Yep.
Very cool.
Yeah, the ZU-23. Also something you don't want to run into. A fucking nasty gun.
Anti-aircraft gun.
Everything. It's basically like the Flak 38, like the 20 millimeter.
20 mil, yeah.
Yep. It was 23, but like it's very similar shaped and size cartridges. You just don't want to fuck with it. It's anti-everything.
What the hell is that?
I have no. Oh, that's the automatic grenade launcher. That's like the Mark 19 of the Soviets.
Oh, okay. Lobs a bunch of those.
If I'm incorrect, I know the Soviet booze will be fucking destroying me in the comments, but that's fine. But I'm pretty sure that's what this is.
Okay.
The AGS-17 Plumya.
Cool.
He's got the drone on the side and all that shit. Yeah, and it's short. Yeah, it's a grenade launcher. So GB-25. That's basically our version or their version of the 203.
Yeah, I don't see a lot of those.
They still use it. There's a couple of them in the film.
Okay.
And they're loading them because you load them from the front. Like the 203, you load from the back like a pump or a slide action shotgun.
Yeah.
But these, you see that picture right there. They load them from the front.
He just casually fires it. Punk. When they're sitting there.
Well, that's how you fire them.
Right.
Like you just angle them and you just guess. The RPG-7, yeah, fucking nice ripoff of the Panzerfaust, but also highly effective against everything.
There's a reason why it's a ripoff.
And, oh yeah, and it's fucking amazing. Yeah, the RPG-18 we were talking about earlier, I had never seen that, so yeah, it's basically the M72 just cloned. F1, hand grenade, yep. RGD-5, yep.
Oh yeah, it's
definitely
rolling down there.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah, that was cool. Also, like, you know, you learn some things about different phrases and such. Like they call the Mujahideen ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and yeah, it's understandable why. It's just cool though that, you know, everyone has their nickname for certain enemies.
And a tank grenade, yeah, it's magnetic. Oh yeah, this was really cool to see. Actually,
the little mine, yeah, that just pops.
Yep, because they would drop these from planes.
Oh really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. So they drop them, that's why they're shaped that way with the wings and shit. They drop them from planes or helicopters, mostly planes. And yeah, like they'll take your lower leg off and you're done. You're out of the fight.
And that's their only purpose?
Yeah, it's an anti-personnel mine. Yep.
Nice.
And the Germans use that. We use a similar thing like that. But yeah, they're fucking annoying and just like, yeah, you step on them, you're fucked. Cool.
Decent sized page.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of shit going on there. So, but, all right.
Want to do our closing thoughts?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. I guess I'll go. So yeah, as I've said, you know, I was just the whole time just picking out all the different things I've seen in other war films, and I'm just like, really? We're doing this? Okay. And very unimpressed by that, but you know, it does have a number of things. The production level is very high, and you know, if there's a lot of really cool stuff to see in terms of, you know, military weaponry and how certain, you know, situations would be depicted. And of course, it does focus on something that is not focused on much in war films. You know, the Soviet-Afghan War. Not too many that, you know, you see here in the West anyway, that are available in the West. And yeah, just I couldn't get over the horrible way it was written and all that, and just the tropes and all that, and the fact that it's taking stuff from so many different movies and, you know, just doing it again. So I think I'm gonna give it probably a 4.6 out of 10. Yeah,
4.6.
4.6.
All right, let me. I'm trying to look up the budget, and I know what they made, but I'm trying to look at the budget. Okay, so this film actually the budget was $9.5 million, apparently, and the box office was 26.1.
Okay, so it did well.
It made money, yep. But again, we reviewed films that were way worse than this.
Yes.
That made a lot more.
That's
so
true.
Yeah, so I'm on the same page. Like, I think I would like to see a Soviet-Afghan war film that's done not as cinematically, I guess. And it's like, I want to see something that's more raw and it just shows kind of like what these guys went through, because that was a completely fucked war. Like that actually contributed to the fall of the Soviet Union. It was so fucked. Right. And it bankrupted them, and we tried to do it 30 years later or 20 years later. But like, yes, the production value was good. I liked it for filming this with 9.5 million. That's impressive.
I was gonna say, yeah, like, for you said that, but it's like, oh wow, that's pretty good for everything they have in this movie.
Because the actual, like, the cinematography and shits, I would say it's like a $20 to $30 million. Like, that's what I was estimating.
Yeah,
very good. But yeah, the storyline was just fucking awful. The like, and at certain points they were trying to do like the art house, like the hipster kind of fucking like thing, and then they went back to like a normal film, but the writing sucked and whatever. So it was like it just didn't work. A lot of good details in like the uniforms, or not. I don't want to say the uniforms because I actually don't fucking know, but the firearms and whatever.
It's done well.
But for that, yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's people listening right now who are like, no, they got this wrong. I don't know, so I'm not gonna actually factor that into the score.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna say this gets a solid 4.8 from me.
Okay, so barely above me.
Right, but like still on the same kind of and again, we're comparing this to films that are fucking good and really bad.
Yeah.
It gets a 4.8. I would not really recommend this for the purpose of learning about the Soviet-Afghan war. If you want to, like Brian always says, if you want to get a six-pack with your buddy on a Tuesday or a Thursday and just watch something, maybe. It's kind of in that realm, but like it's it's borderline below that. And it's like, it'll appeal to nerds like, you and me and like everybody that does this podcast, but it's still like, it just falls way short on a bunch of other shit. And I know it made money, and that's good for them.
Yeah.
Bless their hearts. But yeah, it's a 4.8. So
Better.
let me see really quick. Let me do the math. Brian usually does this a lot quicker.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we've got punching the numbers into the computer that's going to tell us whether the Soviets will actually get the fuck out of Afghanistan in 89. We've got a score of 4.7.
Okay.
Scream Mel Gibson's for Nate because he's not here. Out of 10. So again, not great.
Mm-hmm. But not
But
terrible.
if you want to see a lot of cool shit and just don't give a fuck about the storyline or any of the characters or anything, yeah, you'd see some chick get gangbanged. Cool. You'd see a bunch of cool Hind helicopters flying around. You see a bunch of cool explosions, some Mooj get smoked and smoking some Soviets. Cool. Without the sound on. But like other than that, it's Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So yeah, 4.7. Not great.
Yeah, not
great.
As they say in Chernobyl, not great, not terrible. We're going with the Soviets.
Yeah, we'll just yeah. And the one guy, he's the Ukrainian. Yeah, I know there was the animosity, but my God, English-speaking people don't give a fuck about that, nor are they going to know about that.
Yeah, you got to do that.
So.
We should do the sticker trivia thing too that Brian.
Oh fuck, I forgot. I totally forgot.
Yeah,
that. Okay.
Do you want me to do it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so sticker trivia this week. Okay, it's here. This week's sticker trivia has to deal with Soviet air power and two famous Cold War Soviet helicopters, the Hip and the Hind. Which of these is the famous dedicated gunship?
The first one to message the Scuttlebutt or movie podcast on Facebook with the correct answer wins a sticker from our illustrious Brian, who was unfortunately hit with Nathan by an IED.
They're both
from the Mooj.
They're both casualties tonight.
Yeah. And they were only wearing the fucking boonie hats, like the whatever the fucking call them.
The sun hats.
They didn't wearing their dark painted helmets. They would have fucking probably made it here, but they just couldn't do that. Couldn't bring themselves to do that. So, yeah. So, all right. There's the sticker trivia.
Yep. So until next time, get fucked, I guess. I don't know what to say for the clips.
That's a good way to end it, actually.
I don't know what to say.
So Mike A told you all to get fucked.
Yeah, that's
so
that's my thing. The movie is a 4.6. Get fucked.
7.
Yep.
But yeah. Anyway, all right. Thanks for listening, everybody, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks for joining us. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to leave a rating. Otherwise, Mel Gibson won't stop screaming. If you like this content, make sure to check out our Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram pages. If you want to directly support our work, make sure to check out our Patreon. All these links are in the description below. Until the next time, Scuttlebutt out.